This broadcast is sponsored by Judge Joe Brown's Barbecue Sauce. Judge Joe Brown's Barbecue Sauce is for all your barbecue needs. Delicious on barbecue, vegetables, and greens. Again, Judge Joe Brown's Barbecue Sauce. Get yours today at jjbbbq.com. Again, jjbbbq.com. And for all things Papa Duck merchandise, you may go to the links that are in the description for t-shirts, a wide array of hoodies, sweatshirts, and his famous quote, "In order to be found, you must first be lost." So everyone, welcome. Happy Friday to you. Happy December. And again, thank you so much to everyone that has joined. I'm just checking connections. So if everyone is able to hear the audio, please let me know by placing a purple heart or a doe in the comment section. You should see a few links. Those links are for Papa Duck, where you can subscribe if you have not already, and as a sponsor, his merchandise. Also, you will see a link for the Honorable Judge Joe Brown's Barbecue Sauce, which is also a sponsor. The Honorable Judge Joe Brown is running for the mayor of Memphis. There is a link there, and scrolling in a moment, you shall see where you can go to support. And we will begin shortly. Papa Duck is expected shortly, and the Honorable Judge Joe Brown is currently completing another broadcast. And for those who are familiar with them, knows that they can go over depending upon how deep they get in to conversations. So there is no worries with that whatsoever. So everyone, welcome, and give everyone a moment. Welcome everyone. Welcome to this exciting broadcast where we have two powerful speakers, Papa Duck and the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, who will be back to back. Question is, will they meet? Thank you, members, subscribers, mods. You're truly appreciated. Derek Bay, Amelia, Toothless Tiger, welcome. Samuel Jones, King, BJ, and Unity. Everyone, welcome. Again, moderators, I do not have to say this, but just in case, continue to protect the integrity of this platform. Everyone has a right to their opinions, but let's continue to keep it respectful and classy. And I'm just waiting for Papa Duck to pop back on, and we will be ready to begin. Again, thank you everyone that has joined. I am so excited. I'm actually nervous, so don't mind me. Let's see if there are any comments. Hello, everyone. And for those who have not had the opportunity, welcome, Papa Duck.
What's up? What's going on?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
Back.
Thank you for joining. Let me cut the music down a little bit. How has your Friday been thus far?
Been pretty good.
Awesome.
Pretty good.
Awesome.
You sounded right.
I'm sorry?
I got somebody that's asking, saying you echoing a little bit. I don't know if you're echoing or you can ask some of the people that's in if you're echoing or not.
Okay. Chat, do you hear an echo?
Yeah, I'm echoing too.
Do you have both StreamYard and YouTube going? Sometimes I know that may happen.
Yeah, so you're echoing.
I don't have anything else open.
Oh,
Here we go. How about now? Does anyone hear an echo?
Trying to yeah. Okay, let me. Yup.
Still an echo? Or they're good?
I don't know how we signed to y'all out there.
Everyone in the chat.
Okay.
Is there an echo? Is audio good? Just need to know from a couple of you. Thank you, Latrina, and welcome. No echo. And Amelia says, sounds fine. So, Papa Duck.
What's going on?
Back.
I'm trying to load it in and let them know to jump on.
Okay. And I'm going to begin after you make your notifications with a couple. I mean, you have so many videos, but these are the two that stuck out to me. And I don't know how it is where you are. It was warm, and now the temperature is dropping again. So I need to make sure I bundle up. But again, welcome to my members, mods, subscribers, and those that are coming in. Make sure that you like and share. Hi there, John. Welcome and thank you. And again, everyone, you should see links for Papa Duck. If you have not subscribed, do yourself a favor and do that. And all things merchandise. The links are in the description and in the chat.
Definitely.
You good, Mr. Papa Duck?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, fair use, play this first clip. And I would like for you to expand on that. And I will give a little foreshadowing. It is on the Credit Society That was one of your largest videos. You remember that? Here we go.
A new digital tracking system. Bro, make sure y'all screenshot this, read this. I told y'all, make sure y'all also look up the social credit system. Bro, it is coming here.
Facts.
Remember that?
Yeah, a lot of people thought I was just talking when I was talking about that. Even when we was talking about the cashless society and all that stuff, people start screenshotting, sending me places they go to buy stuff, and they see signs that say cash only. So now it's here. Like, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That same point system that's in China, of course it's coming here.
Right. And you mentioned, and you continue to mention how things that begin in other countries will soon trickle down here.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's like it's all about control, man. People gotta understand that at the end of the day, it's just about control. It's like, I don't think people, like, it makes you wonder, like, why we even born? Like I said before, like, what's the purpose? Like, we ain't born to be controlled by other people. But when you really think about it, your life is a whole lie. Everything about it is crazy, bro. It's like, I sometimes I think about it, I just get lost in my thoughts, man. But at the end of the day, these people are really here to control us, you know what I'm saying, and to suppress us and keep us really dumbfounded.
Absolutely.
I'm saying, and going to school, sometimes people think going to college and all that stuff makes them smarter. It really makes it just gives them more indoctrination. And like I say, you're going 100 mile per hour down the wrong road. That's just what it is. But in this created reality, it's like a video game. You can create a video game and you can create the rules, and this is all it is. Nothing natural about the way we live every day.
Absolutely. And with the continued genetic modification of almost everything.
Right. Everything.
I'm just looking forward to 23 and to see what happens with that. You mentioned also on that video about digital ID. Can you briefly share with the audience what that means for those who may not know?
Because like I say, everything is digital. Everything has to go on a database. You know? So now they gave us physical wallets. They use the word wallet. Words, you get caught up in these words. So when you think of a wallet, you think of let me see if I got it. You think of a physical wallet. Now they got a digital wallet. You feel me?
Yes.
You use these words basically just to transfer what you already know about whatever they're talking about, just to a digital form. So a digital ID will be able, and they're gonna enforce it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make it where, you get perks if you have a digital ID. You can get stuff faster. You don't have to come to the DMV and all this. They're gonna create these perks to make people just jump on board. But with a digital ID, you literally wouldn't need a physical ID number. And everything is on the grid. Everything is performed. With a digital ID, they can look you up like this. You know what I'm saying? Everything, it has to go digital. It's just like when they was turning the TVs from manual to digital. Well, when it was manual, you had to manually get up and manually turn the TV. Now that it's digital, you can control it remotely. But it has to be digital. Like, they can cut your lights off from New York. You can live in Florida. They can cut your lights off. Boom. They ain't got to come out and just cut your lights off.
Now, in the days of old, where I grew up, you had to make an appointment and wait for the tech to come. Now, like you said, they can turn it on. We spoke about briefly facial recognition, voice recognition, gait recognition. There's another one. And I don't know if you've done a video on this or not, but scent recognition.
Right? Exactly. The way you walk.
Control.
They know your strut. So people got to understand, like I said, they got 5,000 data points, probably more, because they can identify you from the side, the top, right? And they, like you just said, they also can control not control, but they can identify your strut or your walk. Yes, I did.
And add this to the pot. Scent. recognition. You ever hear people say sometimes when they're going to purchase cologne or perfume that it depends on your chemistry?
Mm-hmm.
You do know that's out in some other countries already, or at least a study of it.
Wow. I wouldn't put it past. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, it all boils down to control. And everything has to go digital. You know what I'm saying? Without it being digital, it can't control it remotely. Like the thing about it too is like it even goes deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? It goes way deeper than that. Like they at a point, like people don't understand by everything being digital, we're basically giving them all the information they need to create artificial intelligence or to write these programs. So we all are a part of our own demise and don't even know it because they building a world around the world. They building an artificial world around the world they built with artificial intelligence. So the only way this stuff works is, let me put it in context. Let me say, like a lot of this stuff wouldn't have purpose if it wasn't in this matrix. Like you could be a mechanic, but they don't need a mechanic in the Amazon. Like a lot of these skills they teach us is worthless. And you have to create an environment or a matrix for this stuff to thrive. So within that, they can create artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, in like I always say, if you 30 plus years old, or even I would say 25, 20 maybe, but I'm gonna say 30 to be safe, plus years old, you kind of can decipher the difference from where we were to where we at.
Absolutely.
Imagine these kids that's gonna be born today.
Yes.
They don't know nothing about a beeper. They don't know nothing about VCR. They don't know nothing about none of this stuff. So they growing up within it. It's gonna be so hard to break them because the reality is already gonna be sought for them. They ain't gonna have none of the decipher from the difference. They just know, man, I grew up. You know, they probably gonna have hologram phones next. Where you can hold. Well, they got it now. Where you can hold a phone and see somebody. You know, all this stuff they put in TV, man. They just massaging it in our brains so that it's like it's not an aha moment when we see it. They've been grooming us from the jets. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, those that may feel weak or vulnerable, those to me are the ones that are targeted the most because what they'll do is offer or incentivize.
Fact.
And then once you're caught in, it's almost like a gang in a way. If you want to get out, then there are problems.
Right. But all people got to do is just, it's so simple to end it. People just got to, well, it is simple on one hand, but on another hand, if everything you know is what they taught you, you really, like most people can't even decipher the difference. Like most people don't even think they living in bondage. They don't know they are slaves. They don't even know. They think you just supposed to pay bills 30 days, like I always say, every 30 days for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
It don't make sense.
We have a comment up here from Daniel Woodbury. I'm not sure if you're able to see it. It says, at this point, I'm concerned for my younger children.
And, hey, I'm with you. I'm with you because it's like if we don't do nothing about it now, they gonna suffer. It's a wrap. I mean, it's over. And like some people come to me and say certain stuff, but I try to get them to understand, like, man, them people fought wars for reasons. We don't have to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're in power. They're not gonna just step off and give you their power, just hand it over to you. War. It's gotta be a war. War brings peace. You can't be rational with the unrational. That's it. That's all it is. These folks, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So if you ain't prepared to fight, you got to figure out a way. You can't, you know what I mean? You got to figure it out.
Absolutely. All right, next real clip. Again, fair use. And this will segue us in. Didn't know you had a little acting on your resume. This was excellent.
Definitely.
Fair use.
I ain't look on my mama face before. Is this a good time? What's happening? Like what? What happened to you?
Do you remember that?
Yeah, those some skits we put together, man. Uh, like these skits is kind of like some real. Cause that skit that was about females and
Domestic violence.
domestic. Cause domestic violence is real. So a lot of the skits we got that's coming. The next one gonna be about child support, where I play a judge. You know what I'm saying? And we got the little court side up and all that. But it's all these skits that got meaning to it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely that. This year we're gonna shoot our first movie. We aim toward the Tubi movie. So we got like 2 big cameras. This is a big.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this is Black Magic right here. So we got like 2 of those, couple more things. So we're gonna shoot our first movie, and they shoot Netflix movies with this camera. They shoot even real movies, even some of the stunt stuff was done in Transformer with these same cameras. So we just finna try to change the narrative, cause like you know what Hollywood do? Hollywood just paint the image in our head that correlates the gender
Mm-hmm.
that for us. And like I say, even with the Emancipation movie, Will Smith, it was a good movie. Now, don't get me wrong, but it just constantly it does 2 things. It constantly reminds us of that pain,
Yes.
and it makes us accept the way we live today, as if we still ain't enslaved. So,
Absolutely.
but we're gonna change the narrative. We may do a movie where we got white slaves and black slave owners. You know what I'm saying? Just to switch it up, we just got to change the narrative. So that's what a lot of them skits were too.
Mm-hmm. Now
Skits.
that one was powerful because many, and I'm not going to ask anyone to speak on that, but that was domestic violence, and you actually have to go to that video. But you went there and you saw her face basically mangled.
Yeah.
So, what would you say as we segue into men and manning up to number 1, abusive men, 2, abusive women, even though I'm not going to talk on that for this particular one, but the ones that stay.
For the women that stay,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely would tell them to definitely don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I look at everything from the root. It's just the environment we live in. You know, everything around us is basically an issue to what you see go on. Because on one hand, they'll tell you get with one woman, be with one man, married, do all that. But the world shows you totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Like people know how to play on your mental, your psyche more than you know how to. And this comes down to social media when you seeing women with the butt, the this, and then women seeing men doing this. It's a bunch of twisted. It's like the reality that it's supposed to be, it ain't. So the things women supposed to do, they're not doing. The things men supposed to do, they're not doing. But why? It's the reality. It's the environment we live in. You know, there's no good example of what a black family is on TV. Really nowhere. All you see is women fighting, throwing water on each other, and cat fighting. And it's just the examples we have, and we creatures of habit. You know what I'm saying? We mimic what we see. You don't see the things they say be. Like, hey, oh, be this, be that. But where you see it at? If you ask 10 people what a man is, you're going to get 10 different examples because we all experience life totally different.
Correct.
So, for some cases, those women that leave based on the experiences of their life, they not finna stay there. And then you got some women that depend on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can't leave. You know, it's always a reason why. So sometimes you just got to be a listening ear and understand what they're going through. But a lot of them just don't have nowhere to go, you know, for the most part. And then some, I would say a very few, I don't know if they like it. I don't know if that's the way they feel they need to be shown how to be loved. I don't know, but all these stuff gonna be based off experiences of their life. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually something that I have heard many times.
Mm-hmm.
That women will say, well, he doesn't love me if he doesn't hit me, or
yeah. I don't know. I don't know who came up with that one. But again, I always look at it, like I said, sometimes I be too direct with I'm more the root of the problem. I guarantee you other women that hear that and be like, I don't know who said, because we all experience life differently. Who came up? I don't know. It's got to be from a broken person.
And unfortunately, yes, there's too many broken people. So for you and your generation, what blueprint, if you will, would you try to give to lead those that you see going down that path of destruction? How would you, number one, approach a young man, your generation, and speak to him? Like real talk.
Honestly, like I said, I always go to the root of it. I can approach them and speak to them and tell them basically everything they already know. I'm telling you, most times people, motivational speakers and all that, these people telling you something you already know. You have to think about why people not doing it. It goes back to the environment. It goes back to, if I get a young man and I can talk to him, speak to him, tell him what he already know. Don't do wrong, do right. You know what I'm saying? Woo. Now, based off where his environment, what environment is he in? These people got more of our children's attention than we have because of the music, the things they see on TV, the phone, the social medias. So it's like, who's raising your child? Who's got your child's attention? We don't have nothing as a community or as a group of people or just as people in general to where we can cut that off and like, no, we're not doing like in China with the TikTok. They only allowing their kids to do TikTok 40 minutes a day. And the stuff they show them in China is more like engineering, finances. Like they literally grooming a nation of strong young individuals, while over here in America version of TikTok, you stay on as long as you want, and your stimulation is just money, cars, material things, women, a bunch of BS. This is surrounding you all day, every day. So if we had something like a community where when these kids come here, we give them something else to look forward to. Because like I always say, if you don't own nothing, you can't control nothing. You don't own media. You don't own Hollywood. You don't own the food that's in the stores. But if we can get away from a lot of that and show these kids another way to where that don't affect them, we have a better chance. But I'm telling you, you can't tell a child nothing that sees another kid rapping about killing and got 500,000 in his pocket. And here you go out and buy, what you talking about. And we used to be on the same thing because we know no better, but we're older now. That's
what I wanted you to speak on. How do you change that mindset when you came up through the ranks? And I'll just say, people need to eat, or that's what they feed you. So you may speak or rap or whatever type of art you present. Once one gets older, have you ever been personally questioned, well, man, you used to do such and such?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah. So how do you respond?
Well, like I tell them, man, you can see my growth.
Yes.
Yeah, I was breaking houses. I got kicked out of school. I done did everything. And the thing about it, man, you got to go through that. You got to see both sides of it. You feel me? So what I tell them is, man, I ain't no different than you, but our mamas raised us in ways where they didn't know no better about a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? So you got to get to the root of the problem. A lot of times people don't understand our problem is we don't control the climate. We don't control nothing. We don't control money. We don't control education. How can you win playing a game where you're just misinformed on all levels? You know what I'm saying? You're being manipulated psychologically in ways you don't even understand. You can't even fathom. You feel what I'm saying? It's you got to get to the root of it. People talking about, relationships don't work. Why they don't work? Because you as a human being have never seen an example of a real relationship, bro. How could you mimic something you don't even you know it exists or it can exist, but I'm feeding you every day big booties, big titties. I'm feeding you every day something that's shiny. Man, you don't see no black man taking care of no black woman and a black woman making sure the kid this and tell me a show on TV you see that.
I honestly don't watch too much TV other than football, but as far as shows of old, no. Now, Good Times was the only one I can think of, but if you do your research, they wanted to kill James off. And I think the actress Esther Rolle, she did not want to agree with that, or I believe she didn't agree with it.
No, she didn't. There were the issues with her, right? They did not want a black daddy on the show. And thank God for her, she said she wasn't gonna do it if they don't put a black daddy on the show. Now the guy who originally wrote Good Times, he was a black guy. He wrote a lot of stuff from Good Times, Sanford and Son, a lot of them shows.
Was it Norman Lear or something like that? I forget.
Yeah, he got screwed over.
Really?
And then the guy who did take the credit for it, you know what I'm saying, was a white guy. And this is my thing. We understand what television in Hollywood does. If you as a white guy trying to write scripts about a black family, that don't even make sense. Like you can't, it's impossible. You can't speak for black people. But when you don't own nothing, you can't control nothing. This is like an elephant trying to tell you about a lion. A lion can tell you more better about a lion than an elephant can. So why don't you have black writers, which they did have black writers, but to put it out there to the world to say black people don't have fathers and to put us out there like this and that and interpret us this way, that way. This goes into the minds of the American people and it creates the reality or the perception of this is what black people do or don't do. Because you never grew up with no black family. You only can go off what they tell you. Just like when I used to travel a lot, everybody from Africa, I always ask, man, you ever seen lion? Or you ever seen, man, people look at me like I'm crazy. People say, man, I ain't never seen no lion dead. You think these people in huts, damn near naked, eating and flies and all that, because this is what they show us. We don't know no better. So it's the same thing when you let people control the perception of you as a group. That's why I say every group of people need a representative to say, no, you cannot represent us like that. You don't know nothing about this culture. How you gonna speak on this culture just because you feel me? It shouldn't be like that. But when they can control the narrative, this is how you're perceived. So everyday people see you and just off of what they think, that's how they approach you. It's like being in the elevator with a white guy. Man, I never did nothing to you a day in my life. I don't even know you, vice versa. So whatever you feel didn't come from me. It came from the perception of what you was around in your environment, right? Them 4-5 seconds on the elevator is so awkward, but it's not because of me. I never done that to you. It's just what you've been told, and vice versa.
Stigma that's been instilled for years. Now, I'm going to say, in all fairness, not everyone, but people a little bit older than myself, they're still stuck in that. And will be.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't own nothing, you cannot control nothing. Even white people can't do nothing about their own situation. And I put it to them like that to let them see, like, hey, and you in the same boat I am. You shop at the same grocery store. You know what I'm saying? You may have a small little purse here and there, and I only say that to let them understand, man, you was a peasant. You just like everybody else. Slavery, none of that stuff went nowhere. It just advanced. You see what I'm saying? So who do you blame for that?
But when do you believe that people, men and women both, should start to be more proactive?
ASAP. But the thing about it again, I'm telling you, if I've done this before. If you ever stayed in a hotel and you on the 15th, 20th floor, and you look out your window about 5:30 in the morning, but you gonna see them cars moving. These people going to and fro from work, they moving them, and you have to think to yourself, who the hell got these people up this early?
Mm-hmm.
Man, these people done created a reality to where people are so wrapped in this reality, they don't know the difference. I'm telling you, they don't know. So in order for you to say, like, when we're gonna start being proactive about things, the woke have to disconnect from the sleep. That's the only way. Like, because if it's too many of people who either sleep, woke and don't want to be woke, or just in a comfortable position where they don't care either way. And then you got some people that's very conscious of what's going on, but they have a bigger speaker. I always say that, like, they have a bigger speaker to reach the masses. It's like you at a concert and you're in the middle saying hell no, and they saying hell yeah. They can't hear you. You got to separate, man, from them. Let them do their thing, and you start building with conscious people. And then they can see, man, them people don't get sick as much, man. They ain't got to go through this. Then they'll start coming up because you have to give them something to compare their life to. Right. Like they say, if you sit in doo-doo long enough, it'll stop smelling. That's just that.
Derek Bay says you have to change your mind, which changes your reality.
Exactly. But who controls the mind? So if you control a person's mind, you control their decision making, you control their actions, you control their reality. Like I say, like when women do stuff, and this is no disrespect, when women either put on makeup or you gotta ask, like, who told you to do that? Again, we mimic what we see. You know how many people went to prison when the crack, think about it. I'm gonna show you how Hollywood worked. When the crack epidemic hit, think about the top movies that came out around the same time that correlated with that movement. New Jack City was one of them.
That was a blockbuster.
Man, listen, these people can be whatever they want to be a blockbuster. They control everything. That's why I say, if you don't own nothing, you cannot control nothing. This nigga still in prison and dead behind the movies.
So again, we already know who owns things.
That.
But again, let me read this comment really quickly. I just love your knowledge, Papa Duck. We have had a hard time getting our people to hear. They're wrapped in this metaverse. Tell the truth. Thank you for inviting me. This room should be full. No worries, as long as one gets something.
Good job.
We're on it. So Papa Duck spoke about the metaverse. Would you like to briefly go over what that is for those that may not have heard that? Because unfortunately, many haven't, or they don't quite understand.
Well, metaverse is basically a fake reality that they're getting people to accept. And I had a conversation with my daughter the other day, and basically what I'm telling you is, it's crazy that they're selling real estate in the metaverse.
Now, is that digital real estate or?
Real estate. They are buying, I'm talking about millions of dollars done been spent on digital real estate, because I'm gonna try and break it down the best I can. In the real world, if you come to a city, say you go to Chicago, in the real world, go to a basketball game, and you might see people with their promotions all around the stadium. It's the same thing as putting on the Oculus, going into the metaverse, and going to Chicago digitally, seeing the same thing. So it's a fake world and it's a digital world. I'm gonna say it's a real world and it's the digital world, the metaverse. And that's how they're able to sell land and sell concerts, and if you think about the whole idea of it, it's really crazy what these people doing. Isn't it crazy if people is buying into it? But it goes to show you can take dog and raise him as a cat. And he'll meow like a cat because he don't know no different. And this is why these people fight for our education. I tell people all the time, when Rockefeller started the women's movement, they did it for two reasons. When you saw women want to vote and women want to be as seen as equal to men and women want to go to work, two things happened though. You feel me? One was they was able to tax not just half of America, but now they can tax all of America because now men and women can work, for one. And for two, they able, since the man and the woman is going to work now they got the child at a more earlier age. So now here come pre-K, here come kindergarten. So now they can indoctrinate us at a younger age. So if you take a person and you start them at a young age and you create the reality, all these curriculums are scientifically studied and proven on what works, what don't work. How do you create an individualistic country or a way of living, or collectivism, which we don't do collectivism, we do individualism.
Right.
So now we can control y'all even more. We got your kids way more than you got. It's crazy. You think a lion will let someone else keep their cub? Hell no. It ain't gonna work. But they've created a reality where, well, your kid gotta go to school. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, to go be indoctrinated so that they can later on in life be controlled and told what to do. Now these people literally create everything you think of and don't think of. And this is why they fight to control our education, because once they get you on a 12-step brainwash camp, more likely you gonna comply. And this is why people vote every year, knowing it ain't gonna change. This is why people work and pay their bills. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. But I just hope. I mean, I'll be lost for words for, as you see. I just can't understand why people just can't wake up. Like,
question.
People.
Wait on connectivity, so hold on, everyone. You mentioned, hi there, Wilford, indoctrination. For those of you who do not know what that is, Papa Duck, can you explain that? And I'm going to check my router really quick.
Okay.
All right.
Indoctrination is just creating a system to continue the same BS. You see what I'm saying? It's like going to school, being taught to teach other people the same BS and keep this thing rolling. So you indoctrinated, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically what it is. This is like doctors going to school, being taught the same thing over and over and over again. It's nothing gonna change. You're just being indoctrinated to continue the BS. That's basically it. You know what I'm saying? And people gotta understand, man, school don't, people think because they go to school, you know, they know this, they know that, or it's just an indoctrination. That's it. You're being taught the same BS. And it's like religion, man. Like back in the days with religion, we didn't read out of no book. Religion was in you. You lived it. We talking about the 42 laws of Ma'at. You know what I'm saying? Which they don't teach. And that's crazy. But well, it ain't crazy because, you know, they don't want you to know these things. But you can look these things up. The 42 rules of Ma'at. This was a way of how we live. But again, dealing with a world that basically want to control everything. And that's basically that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And thank you for explaining that. Also, where else does indoctrination occur? A lot of people want to limit it to entertainment, but
everyone.
School
mainly, you know what I'm saying?
Military.
School, military, church. Because you got to think, before you even start a conversation, you have to at least acknowledge that we have an issue. So once you acknowledge, yeah, something is wrong, then we know we can start explaining what's wrong. Because people still go to church even though it never changed nothing and never gonna change nothing. People hate about it. You know, church is the newcomer. Matter of fact, I'm finna bust y'all a bubble on something right quick, right? And this is my
Put my mic on mute.
Huh?
I'll put my mic on mute.
Listen, I'm finna bust y'all a bubble on something, right? The image of white Jesus. I guarantee you, whoever is your religious advisor or your preacher or your whoever, I bet you they couldn't tell you this. The image of white Jesus, we all know Leonardo da Vinci painted it, but where did it come from? It came from Pope Alexander VI, his son, which his name was Caesar's Borgias, right? Which was said to be Leonardo da Vinci's lover. He painted a picture of him, and that's the image of God that they plastered all around the world of white Jesus. Now you might say, well, go look it up. Caesar's Borgias, Borgia, Borgias. Now I'm gonna tell you how wicked they is, and you can go look this up too. HBO got a series or a show that's called The Borgias. Now, why the hell you ain't knew nothing about this in school? The image of white Jesus came from Caesar's Borgias, Pope Alexander VI, his son, which was funny. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. You gotta watch our words carefully. Now go look this up. You can Google this. And like I say, if HBO did a whole show about the Borgias, that should tell you something. These people know. It's just you don't know. So when you go to your grandma, you go to your pastor, any of them, they say, where did the picture of Jesus come from? Leonardo da Vinci painted his lover, Caesar's Borgias, and here you go. That's where the image of white Jesus comes from. And the crazy part about that is the Last Supper was 13 prisoners sitting at a table.
Max, and if you study Greek mythology, have you looked at some of the art?
Somebody just put it up there. Please go tell whoever this, and these are the things Cesar Borgia, that's it. Borgia. And they got the HBO got a series called The Borgias. Go look at these, man, it gonna blow your mind. And see, they ain't gonna tell you this stuff. You feel me?
And I did not know that.
Hey,
I don't watch a lot of TV, and especially some of these cable shows coming up now, because to me, and this is my opinion, that song is poison to young people.
Listen to me. Everything around you is catering to their agenda in some type of way. They're not here to entertain you. They're not here to make you laugh, smile. These people are strategically making movies. These ain't movies. These are indoctrinations. Not indoctrination, but these are like documentaries.
Yes.
It's the same way with The Matrix. That's a documentary. Like, these movies are put in place for a specific reason. You just might not know the reason, but they know about this stuff because they got. It's like saying, why the hell does England got more African artifacts than Africa? That don't make sense. These people stole everything, and I say everything. Even like I tell you about the Papal Bull. You feel me? The Papal Bull. If you know anything about a Papal Bull, you'll know where Christianity and all this stuff come from. You feel me? And that a Papal Bull is where the Pope gave people like Christopher Columbus, people who was out discovering, gave them the permission to pillage, right? Subjugate, right? Take over, kill, steal, last but not least, convert to Christianity. Go look it up. It's a Papal Bull.
Oops, that's correctly,
yes.
PAL Bull.
Somebody just put it up there. It's a Papal Bull. Again, if your religious advisor, I like to say that, or your preacher, pastor, I don't give a damn. If none of them can't tell you this stuff, right? Because y'all on this show for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. You're not here because you don't know or shouldn't know. You're here for a reason. So if these people can't tell you this, even your mother, then you should know they don't know no better. Some of them do. You feel me? Some of them just, I know a lot of preachers that, once they studied theology and all these different things, and they come into reality, like, some of them just got in their heart, like, nah, man, we were told wrong since day one, man, and just turned it all the way around. Some of these people they scared. They're gonna continue to lie. And this is how they took over stuff, man. They got us with, like, tell me this, how could God be white if he died, he would have to be buried in 2 days? What if your ass can't get off work Monday? Your grandma died Monday, but yeah, got the Wednesday, boy. If you can't make it down to the Wednesday, you ain't gonna see grandma no more. And it's not
bereavement.
Yeah, it's not to be. Yeah, but it's just facts. Like some of this stuff, it just don't make. You know what I'm saying? It just don't make sense. So, same thing with the Christmas thing. I broke that down with Christmas. The colostrum that's in the middle of your brain releases this liquid or secretion. They want to use the word secretion because it got secret in it, because it's a secret. The colostrum, that liquid comes out of your out the colostrum. That liquid, what the Egyptians call it, was Christos. And if you look up Christos, it means Christ or oil. And this is where they get the coming down the back of your spine, the 33 vertebrae. And this is where they get Santa Claus from and all this crap. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part about it is, again, if your religious advisor can't tell you where Christ come from, right? And it's called Christos, Christos. Look it up. It's called Christos. Christos, what do we call it? That's what they mean by Christ. They talking about that liquid or that secretion.
Okay. We have another guest here.
Facts.
All right, everyone. Please welcome, along with Papa Duck, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown.
Hey, welcome, man. What's going on?
How is everyone?
Everybody's fine.
I trust everyone is doing fine. The day before New Year. Start New Year.
Definitely.
Yes. I wanted you to dialogue on manning up, really, really hitting it home. Papa Duck's generation, and also yours, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown. And while you do that, I'm going to put my mic on mute. Again, Honorable Judge Joe Brown, Papa Duck. Me.
Hey, how you doing, man? It's a pleasure.
Oops.
That's somebody trying to call. When I use the StreamYard, you can be interrupted by a call that comes in through the cell phone. It's also associated with the iPad or the laptop, etc. Well, we are what we are. And I'm always been about this thing called man up. It's our duty, honor, and obligation to protect womanhood and promote manhood. That's what it's all about. That's what it's been about throughout human history, whether you're black, white, brown, red, yellow. Everybody came out of Mother Africa. Some went to Europe and got pale. Some went to Asia, got yellow. Some went to the Americas, got red. Some came back around and got brown. But everybody is from Mother Africa. So it is what it is.
Right.
I heard the converse on religion. I don't get into it too much. There's Damballa, Okotie, and Ngumbi is a set. There is Isis, Osiris,
Yeah.
Mithras. Odin, they're all December 25th, and the Christian church co-opted their holidays to move the birthday from Jesus being celebrated in early March, late April in the rest of the world, because the pagans wouldn't stop doing what they're doing. We have the 25th of December celebrated as Al Samhain, the end of the dark times, when the days started getting longer, and we celebrate that with Tannenbaum, the Christmas tree, mistletoe, and such like. So I've got more important things to deal with. I don't get into it too much. Santa Claus is Santa Claus, whether you're talking about 7-year-olds or 70-year-olds. So it is what it is.
Right. That's awesome.
I don't worry about dying, because death is a moment away. And when you die, the question gets posed, what the hell did you do while you were here? And does anybody give a damn that you ever existed?
Right. Thanks. I like where you put that.
All right. That said, I think that brought me up to speed to where I came in, and you recognize me. I heard the rest of it, but harsh, but it is what it is. What would you have? The judge is in the house.
I got a question though I wanted to ask, man.
He did the tea, baby. Fly with me. I promised and prophesied I float. I don't walk on the surface of the earth. There are a few centimeters between the soles of my feet and the planet. Right. Touch. Verify that your existence deceives you not. I've become manifest as promised. Put your favorite body parts on device that comes to you through your radio or some similar technology, and float, fly, and enjoy. This is what we do, is we come by you.
Right. Right. Hey, bring my charger right quick.
I passed the mic.
I got a question, right? I just wanted like some stuff I was researching. I know you're a judge, respectfully, and it's an honor to be on here with you, man. But
I've been doing this for 50 years. Go for it. I'm not giving advice, just interpretation of law. But go ahead.
Facts. All right. I want to ask you a question, right? Like, is the Constitution a contract?
No, it's not.
It's not.
Nothing to do with a damn contract. It's got some of the bitches were blowing each other's ass away, and one side won, and might makes right, and there is a covenant between some people who composed the sovereign entity of state 1, and it went through state 13, and they said, we're going to unify like the Euro Union has between France, Germany, Italy, etc., nations that used to deal with war against each other, decided to do some unification. We have 13 sovereign states that unified, became one country, and by the time the Civil War got around, it changed from the United States are of the opinion that such and such is the case too. After the Civil War, the United States is of the opinion. It became a collective, then it morphed into a singularity.
Well,
is what it
is. What it is. That's what's up. That's what's up.
You know, for the both of you, I've heard Judge Joe Brown And he has laid out plans where he believes men should man up. And you spoke briefly before he came on. Could you both just briefly dialogue again from your different perspectives as far as generations on what needs to be done heading into 2023 to get through to young men, older men, and perhaps some seniors, that some things need to change? And I'll go on mute so you all can have a brief dialogue on that.
Young man, first.
Like I said earlier, honestly, like I said, man, I like to attack it from the root. You know, the things that have our influence, we got to get rid of those things. And we have to get rid of the people that control those things. We don't, like I say, with children today, mothers and fathers or even family members, they don't have these children's attention. It's the social media. It's what they see on TV. It's everything but family. And like I said, there's a very poor representation of what family is these days. These kids don't know it. I grew up in the era where I had my grandma. My grandma wasn't 35. She was 60 plus. It's a different world today. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, you can't, if you don't have these people attention or have something to where they can look forward to, then they're gonna be controlled by those who do got their attention. Like, you can't tell a teenager 14 years old with 300,000 in his pocket from rapping anything. And that's how I like to attack it. So once we get something like we need some type of a committee going, like something where they can look up to. Because especially blacks, if you look at other cultures, a lot of that stuff, they're not gonna let their kids do the stuff that we do. But a lot of times we don't let them do it either. It's just they have more control over our kids than we do. From, like I say, from social media and all these different things. You know what I'm saying? And if you was like me, I got whoopings in school. You can't do that no more. Everything that discipline these kids are basically in the kids' favor. And it's just a different world. Like I say, it's just a different world now.
There's a quick question. Excuse me, gentlemen. Derek Bay asks, if the Constitution is not a contract, why do maybe he means officials, sign it?
It has nothing to do with anything. It's got to do with might makes right. It's a sovereign entity that is composed of multiple sub-sovereign entities. They decided to set up a compact as to how they would relate to each other. It's got nothing to do with that. Power. Get used to it. Power is what makes the world go around. How many people have had a steak, hamburger, pork chop, bacon, sausage, turkey, chicken, whatever it may be? Life is not fair. You think it's fair to the cow because he gets turned into a steak, roast beef, or a hamburger? No, it's not. We get to think in this sick way of, it's supposed to all be about fairness. It's not. Now, back to the other issue. See, young man, you said something, you owe your mother. My generation, we don't talk about our mothers, we talk about our fathers. When I think about what I owe to life, I don't think in terms of my mother, I think of my father. The white folk I've talked to, they talk about their fathers. The Japanese folk, they talk about their fathers. The Mexicans, they talk about their fathers. The Native Americans, they talk about the fathers. We talk about black folk, it's about mothers. Something's different here.
Yeah.
Is it and why? Now, we talk about historical stuff and we want to get into things. And ladies, I'm not trying to insult you or anything. It's just you birth the next generations. We're supposed to be about protecting the next generations and providing for them. We forget that. But why is it that we always talk about what we owe our mothers and grandmothers and aunts, and we never talk about what comes to us through our grandfathers, fathers, or uncles? It's an interesting thing. Everybody else in the world thinks that way but us. Young white folk, or near death, they might call on their mothers, but when they go in to fight for whatever cause they're fighting for, they think of their fathers. We don't. So we might want to consider what that's all about and what the ramifications are. Interesting when you get into it. Quite interesting. Now, my mother and father were around, but actually, I like my daddy better than I like my mama. And my mother was a pretty good mother. But that wasn't the point. I was a man, so I identified through the male line, not through my mother. I identified to an extent with the paternal side of the mother line, but I did not think of myself in terms of my mother. I thought in terms of my father. And I find that lack today. And it's got to do with how our black society has become a matriarchy. And with no disrespect to the ladies, there's never been a successful matriarchy in the history of the world or the prehistory. And we might wonder why we want to go that way. And the things we deal with back on the other situation, why do we pick a godhead that don't we have enough of our folk that got executed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the way, I said Damballa, Okoti, and Agundi. How many of us know who that is, who they are, or what they stand for? 99% of indigenous Black Americans came from West Africa. Depending upon how you pronounce the words and how the particular culture in West Africa that you originate from was construed, it would be Damballa, Okoti, and Agundi. How many of us know who that is? Now, white folk, they talk about Jesus and all this other stuff. There's also Muhammad, Yahweh, Jehovah. But they know who Odin is. They know who Osiris is. They know who Jupiter, Saturn, and such like are. We named the satellites after the Greek and Roman goddesses and gods, Greco-Roman gods. But Black folk don't know who the ancestral gods are, so how can we have a culture if we don't know where we came from? But you see, that's a problem with Africa too. They have an ancestral culture and they suppress it. You deal with Africans and they say, "Are you a Christian?" "Yeah, I'm a Christian."